Do you remember this walker I made from the ATTE set that can actually walk? After I built the walker, there were a lot of leftover parts, but it turns out they weren't enough to make something useful. So I combined them with this Mandalorian Starfighter set, and then I just started building. Now this walker alternate build coupled with the Dropship alternate build that I'm about to show you is absolutely insane, and probably the hardest I've ever worked on an alternate build, so even just a quick simple press of the like button is greatly appreciated. Anyways, before I show you the main build, I'm going to show you the side builds, and again, everything you see in this video is made from one ATTE set and one Mandalorian Starfighter set. First is this guy from the ATTE set that I borrowed some parts from. He can hide behind this bunker and shoot out the middle. Also hiding behind the bunker is this thing. It's like a shield generator or something. Moving on. Next is a speeder that has room for 3 minifigs or 2 minifigs and a cargo crate. There's also a turret on it. Finally, we have a command post with a rotating turret, control panels, crates, and storage space. These side builds can be used by any of the minifigures included with these sets, and the command post can be picked up and carried by the dropship. Speaking of that, here it is, the dropship that can carry the walker. There's 2 movable ball turret cannons at the front and sloping sides that flow upwards. All these angles were difficult to achieve, so big shout out to the Technic parts included with these sets that made that possible. On top of the front section is the cockpit, which can open up to fit a pilot inside, and he can just sit loosely on that smooth tile. Directly behind the cockpit is the spine of the ship. This part is basically a bunch of plates stacked on top of each other, so I added these side panels and intakes for more detail. It runs backwards to this section here, which is where you're supposed to grab the ship to pick it up. More on that later. At the rear of the ship are the engines as well as the wings. To me, these are just okay. I wish I could have added some more detail back here. I do really like the legs though, which use the ball turret pieces to keep the feet flat on the ground. Now from the side, this thing does kind of remind me of the half-drawn horse meme. The front looks really good, but the rear sections are just kind of lacking something. But what the back half doesn't have in looks, it makes up for with functionality. This is the business end that does all the heavy lifting, hoisting the walker into the air and carrying it to its destination. Before picking up the walker, make sure all the minifigs are leaned backwards to get out of the way of the mechanism. Then you can tilt the dropship back to line it up with the carrying handle, or push the carrying handle about halfway down and line it up that way. Either way, you have to do it while you're behind the walker. It's really hard to do from the front or the sides. Now once you have the dropship lined up with the carrying handle of the walker, simply put in this pin to lock them together. I used 2 Technic axles here for extra strength. Once it's locked in, you can lift up the whole thing by grabbing this section of the dropship. To drop off the walker, simply swoop down low and remove the pin by pulling the brown Technic axle. If you want to land with the walker attached, the dropship has to be all the way in front of the walker. It's not tall enough to stand directly above it. I did add this flip down landing gear though, which you can use to give the ship some extra height and take the weight off the front legs of the walker. Now just like the walker, this dropship is a bit difficult to build, but if you're up for a challenge, you can click the Patreon link in the description box below to get the PDF instructions right now, or you can wait until December 18th when I'll post the video instructions here on YouTube. And just as a quick note, the side build instructions are not finished yet. They will be finished during the month of December, but right now the only things featured in this video that have instructions available for you to build are the walker and the dropship. So yeah, that about wraps it up. The ATTE set plus the Mandalorian Starfighter set equals a walker, a dropship, and a bunch of other cool stuff you can make, all with no extra parts needed. Let me know what you thought about this alternate build down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.